Welcome to day 22 of our Advent Devotional series. Today we look at the name, the Rock.
So it's just a few days until Christmas now, and by this time on Saturday, I can almost guarantee there will have been stockings opened. And in the past, the question on children's lips would have been whether or not they'd been given coal or something sweeter, a lump of rock, dull, black and boring, or brightly coloured toys and sweets full of fun. And sweetness, that's something that everyone seems to be pursuing at this time of year. Whether it's the sweetness of mince pies, selection boxes and Yule log, or the hazy sweet promise of Christmas magic and family bliss, or even the sweetness of baby Jesus in the manger, who supposedly didn't cry. But what if we should all actually be pursuing a rock? What if there's life to be found in a rock? But not that lump of coal, but Jesus Christ himself called the rock. It says in 1 Corinthians 10:4, "For they drank from the spiritual rock that accompanied them, and that rock was Christ." And this doesn't come with the kind of manipulative mystery of Santa. Who is he? Was he ever real? Have I been good enough? This is a reference to a moment in history which you can read about in Exodus 17, when the Israelites came to Moses in the wilderness, quarrelling about their thirst and the lack of anything to drink. And God gave Moses an answer, to hit a rock with his staff, out of which water came forth. Totally miraculous. And so now in 1 Corinthians, in the New Testament, we see Christ described as the rock. But rather than water pouring forth, we're reminded of the blood poured out for us. The blood we remember when we drink and share in communion. Jesus the rock, beaten and struck for us, pierced for our transgressions, blood pouring forth to meet our need, to pay the price for the fact that we never have been good enough and we need Jesus to be our sacrifice. Well, that sounds pretty sweet to me, something I could never do for myself. Jesus came down from the heights of heaven to accompany us here in our sin, to do the miraculous, to die, plunge the depths of hell, and come out of the other side victorious, so that we could have the security of the promise of a relationship with God and the hope for a future. And that kind of solid hope is more than the illusion of Christmas sweetness. Christ is our rock, our firm foundation. And I don't know about you, but for me this is such a comfort at a time of year when there's so much competition for our attention, our time and particularly our money. And when there's pressure to participate in Christmas spirit, to feel jolly and bright, and to somehow be part of conjuring up Christmas magic. Not that I'm saying that the festivities, the fun, the feasting are wrong, but you know what? By dwelling on Christ as the rock, we find that we're neither controlled nor disappointed by how our events unfold. And as a mum of little ones, I find this hugely liberating. I read recently that something that said, it's never been a mother's job to make childhood so magical that our children don't see their great need for Jesus too. Our children do not need a perfect Christmas, they need a perfect Saviour. And so I'm encouraged each day at the moment that actually what I can pray for my children to receive this Christmas is a rock, but not that lump of coal, the rock of a solid Saviour. The Saviour who came down to live amongst us that first Christmas. Jesus, the firm and sure foundation upon which we can build our lives, not just this Advent and Christmas time, but every day of every year. In Psalm 62 it says, "He only is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be greatly shaken." So maybe I can just leave it there and encourage you to think about Jesus the rock today, the fulfillment of the Old Testament, the rock from whom blood flowed to meet our spiritual need. And maybe each time you stop for a drink today, be reminded of the sweetness of Jesus' sacrifice and the solution for our sin.
We hope you enjoyed today's devotional. Tune in tomorrow for more in our Advent series.